Listen up. I posted this video last year in regards why you shouldn't trust your government from my own personal experience. I want you to understand something. Not only did I major in business, real estate, and macroeconomics when I was younger, I am a licensed real estate broker. And I want to tell you something. If you cannot allocate funds outside the United States involving dollars, then honestly, the next best thing, because I believe a lot of things is going to drop. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a licensed real estate broker, but I will tell you this. The only thing that is tangible will be real estate. Granted, there's a lot that could happen, as you're going to see from my own story that happened in 2007, 2008. I'm sure many recall. But if not, you're going to see what happened and why your funds are at risk. And if I may say so, if the dollar is crashing and you have all your funds allocated into dollar denomination type of investment, and that comes down, you're going to lose it all. Just like what happened to many people, including myself, in 2006 and 2007. I saw it coming, so I was able to make some measures so it wouldn't happen to me. But I've written about this, and if you are not sure, I want you to watch these videos. Besides this one here, I want you to watch this video so you can become a little more informed, okay? Guys, we are at war with bricks. This is not by coincidence, not by chance. Everything that's going on around you, you think is Democrats, Republican. It is not, okay? They are both controlled by an elite of people, except for the exceptions of a few. And when I mean a few, I really mean a very few, because 92% has sold themselves out to Israel, a terrorist state, a genocidal Zionist regime. Nothing against Jews. There are a lot of great Jews, but it's a sect of a group of Jews that are evil, going back to Canaan and Baal in the scriptures. So watch this video so you can educate yourself and understand what happened so you can prepare. So if you want to buy real estate, which is the next best thing, I'm a licensed broker. Give me a call. I need to make money as well. I'm very good at what I do. But I also like to educate people because I know what's coming. Thank you for watching. Here we go. I'm talking to you, especially my white American friends. There's two problems. Most of you lack historical knowledge. Secondly, you trust your government as if they were prophets or gods, when in reality, they do not work for your best interest. I heard throughout the years, and I know it's based on my own personal experience. Forget about my degree, certification, just my own experience. I'm going to tell you how I, as a millionaire, lost everything, okay, simply because of policy put in place. Before I even continue, I'm going to ask you this, going back to historical knowledge. Many of you say diversified in gold, right? But where? Here in America? I want you to think about it. Because what happens if they pass a law against it? How are you going to catch a flight? How are you going to catch a boat with that gold? Are you going to take it with you? What are you going to do with it? Okay? Keep in mind that back in 1933 on the Franklin D. Roosevelt, on April, and I'm going to read it so don't forget, it was actually Executive Order 6102. Okay, that was gold confiscation. FDR signed Executive Order 6102, requiring Americans to turn in most gold bullions and certificates to the Federal Reserve. Citizens were paid only $20.67 per ounce, the official gold price at the time. However, non-compliance, if you did not return the gold, which a lot of people did, and carry fines up to $10,000 and 10 years in prison or both. Limited exception insisted on small amount of gold jewelry and certain collectible. FDR argued that holding gold restricted the money supply and worsened deflation during the Depression. But listen to this. The Gold Reserve Act of 1934. After the public surrendered the gold, Congress passed the Gold Reserve Act. Gold ownership was centralized under the United States Treasury. The government revalued the gold from $20.67 after they robbed you to $35 per ounce. Thus, overnight, they devalued the currency by 41% overnight. 41%. So not only did they stole your gold, right, by giving you 21 something, they knew what they were doing. So regardless of whatever, the money you did got or received for it was devalued 41%. Overnight, okay? Americans who complied lost purchasing power. As you know, United States citizens can no longer redeem dollars for gold. Gold-backed international settlement only, not domestic money. This gave Washington and the Federal Reserve far greater control over monetary policies. Why this matters today? FDR Gold's actions set precedent that still echo. Asset confiscation during emergency, currency devaluation as policy, executive authority overriding private contracts, confidence, not metal, became the true backing of the dollar. This path ultimately led to Bretton Woods in 1944, Nixon ending the gold convertibility entirely in 1971, and the modern fiat currency system. Keep in mind that after we forced many nations to peg their currency to the dollar, all right, because it was backed by gold, $35 per ounce of gold. Then in 1971, we took it off the gold standard, obviously creating a major inflation and robbing the world. Okay? Not only that, but I myself, I'm going to speak to you about my own personal experience. I was a millionaire. I worked hard as a kid, young, struggle, hustle, buying real estate, doing construction, fixing it, okay, repairing it, and selling properties for sale. Well, it got to the point that I started buying so many properties, right? 42 units in New York City I became a millionaire, and I got robbed. How did I got robbed? I'm going to tell you exactly how, which is why I don't trust the government. Me being a minority, a Puerto Rican, I know that our currency back in 1898 was devalued as well, 40-something%, when United States came over and took over Puerto Rico. And it's a lot more. We've been killed. We know this for a fact. We were Native Americans, okay? We've been killed. We've been divided. Cubans, Dominicans, Jamaicans, and all that. We were all the same race, okay? Granted, we were mixed later on with Africans as well as Europeans, but our original was Arawak Taino. A lot of people don't know that. And we ran all the way from even North America, okay? South Carolina, Georgia. We know this to be true because our words are written with our language in caves, even in Georgia. But that's besides the point. Let me tell you what happened about 2008. Real estate collapsed that a lot of you don't know, okay? I myself had credit cards over $100,000 in credit, okay? My credit score was close to 800 points, FICO score. I used to educate people about FICO score. I invested tens of thousands of dollars at that time, including Trump Institute. But I bought real estate, right? It was the more secure things. I had financial advisor telling me to diversify, that you over leverage in real estate. And a lot of you, and I'm going to get to this right now, one of the reasons why I don't trust the government, besides the obvious, those are mobsters. They're kebab. They don't represent you as we, the people. They're representing corporate interests. They're representing elites or groups that keep robbing you. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. Listen to me very carefully. So I won't ramble and stumble. I'm going to actually go what I wrote, okay? So creating the housing bubble with too good to be true loans. If you remember, banks and lenders pushed subprime mortgages, offering loans up to 106% financing of the property value to buyers that had no business qualifying. These loans included negative amortization loans, negative ARMs, option ARMs. Homeowners pay only a partial interest payment while the unpaid principal grew in the background. Stated income loans, also known as liar loans. Borrowers didn't need to verify their income. They just wrote whatever they wanted on the application. Adjustable rate mortgages. Interest rate were artificially low at first, but once they adjusted, monthly payments skyrocketed, forcing many into foreclosure. No docs and no down payment loan. Even unemployed people were approved for mortgages with zero down payment. Why? Banks knew these loans were eventually going to default, but they didn't care because they had a scheme to profit from it. I was one of those that put 30-40% down after all hard I worked out in my life and saved, and I kept buying properties, putting certain amount of capital down, and I got screwed because of these people had this plan, and then they blame you as a regular person when it was all set up by Wall Street, by these same elites. And I'm going to continue. Wall Street bundled the toxic loan and sold them as safe investment. Big banks like Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, JP Morgan, and Citigroup packaged these risky mortgages into financial products called mortgage-backed security. These mortgage-backed securities were sold to pension funds, hear me out, pension funds, mutual funds, 401k, and investors, all believing they were safe investment. So many of your pensions were tied up in this without you knowing what was being planned. Okay, your life savings as well. I also have 401k plans, self-directed Roth IRAs, and a whole bunch of mutual funds. But that's besides the point. I'm going to continue. Credit ratings like Moody's, S&P, Fitch lied and gave these toxic security a AAA ratings, even though they were junk. Why? Wall Street knew these loans would collapse, but they made billions in fees and commission selling garbage to unsuspected investors. The market crashes, but the elites get richer. Once the interest rate adjusted, millions of homeowners could no longer afford their payments, leading to mass foreclosures. Home values crashed, leaving people underwater, owning more than their house was worth. Banks, hedge funds, and institutional investors then bought up foreclosed homes at dirt cheap prices, while working class homeowners lost everything. The same banks that caused the crisis got bailed out with taxpayers' money, but regular people got nothing. Results? Wealth was transferred from hardworking homeowners to Wall Street. The middle class lost their savings, retirements, and home equity, while the elites bought assets for pennies on the dollar. And like I said, I was one of them because I had millions of dollars in real estate. My net worth was over 4.8 million in real estate in equity, net worth. It was all paper. It was all on paper. So what happened was, when those properties right next to me foreclosed, because they got 106 financing and they had a negative amortization loan, which meant that the money they were paying was not covering the principal. It wasn't even covering the interest, full interest amount. So that extra amount that they wasn't paying on interest was being allocated towards the principal. Thus, the principal kept growing and growing and growing. And eventually, that interest rate recast. Thus, now they couldn't afford the mortgage, right? And they lost the property. They were under the assumption, based by what we used to tell them, because we were educated in the subject matter. Oh, don't worry. Real estate tends to double every 10 years. Look at historical facts for over 100 years. So what happened was, a lot of people believed that they thought they were simply going to be able to refinance, and they lost out, because once the property started foreclosing, your property lost its value. Yeah, they say, okay, when you do a short sale, it doesn't affect your property. BS, because now if you're going to buy a property and you see your next door neighbor who foreclosed is worth a lot less, why will you buy that property? Why would you buy his property when you could buy a cheaper property for so much less? Thus, a lot of us that actually put down payments, our loans, our principal was recast, was lowered. Thus, we lost our equity. We got robbed. Okay, people like myself that had invested money in mutual funds and investment, Roth IRA, obviously we also lost a lot of our value. So I lost more than 50% of my savings. So we all got robbed, and I'm going to continue. Who's the real culprits? It wasn't the people. It wasn't, even though a lot of people were ignorant. I actually warned a lot of people, and many of you didn't listen to me. I saw this coming, and I thought I was smart. So I said, okay, let me hold on to the property. Let me rent them out. But obviously, New York City, I got robbed as well, because next thing you know, laws and policy allow tenants to remain there for free a year, 2 years, while you're paying mortgage and all that, and that created a financial issue for me as well. It's unfair. It's a monopoly. You're going to fall divorced, you're going to fall sick. There's always ways for them to rob you, and I'm going to continue. Here's who played the key roles in robbing the American people. And keep in mind, I spoke to you about the Rothschilds. I spoke to you about Vanguard. I spoke to you about J.P. Morgan. All the people that created the Federal Reserve Bank, families hiding under corporations. But here, let's continue. The big banks, who were they? Goldman Sachs sold mortgages-backed securities to investors while secretly betting against them, profiting from the collapse. They knew they were going to foreclose. They knew what was going to happen. They set us up to rob the American people. Lehman Brothers, one of the biggest subprime lenders, collapsed in 2008, triggering the financial panic. J.P. Morgan Chase bought out failing banks and profited from the crisis. Citibank issued billions of subprime loans and took government bailout money. Bank of America acquired Countrywide, the biggest subprime mortgage lender, and profited from the collapse. Mortgage company, the predatory lenders. Countrywide, if you recall, Financial was one of them. The biggest subprime mortgage lender knowingly gave bad loans and misled borrowers. Washington Mutual became the largest failed bank in the United States history due to bad loans. New Century Financial, one of the biggest subprime lenders, collapsed when the loans defaulted. Credit ratings agency, the enablers, Moody, Standard & Poor, S&P, and Fitch gave toxic mortgage security AAA rating, misleading pension funds, investors, and retirees, thus stealing your money. I know, because a lot of people, they were wiped out. Some people lost 50% like I did of their savings, and I saw it coming. I lost 50% because when I saw what was coming, I took my money out, but it was already 50% less. Okay? The United States government, the co-conspirator. Okay? The Federal Reserve kept interest rate artificially low, fueling the housing bubble. Alan Greenspan, former Fed chair, ignored warnings about risky lending and pushed for more deregulation. Henry Paulson, Treasury Secretary, former Goldman Sachs CEO, bailed out Wall Street but left homeowners to suffer. Congress and Security Exchange Commission allowed banks to gamble with the economy by deregulating Wall Street. What other wealth was stolen? The 2008 crash was more than just real estate. It was a massive wealth transfer. Home equity, trillions lost. Average homeowner lost 7 to 10 trillions in home equity. Investors bought foreclosed homes for pennies of the dollars. They rented them back to the same people who lost them. 401k and pensions wiped out. Many retirement funds were heavily invested in mortgage-backed securities, leading to millions losing their life savings. Stock market crash. Massive wealth transfer. Middle-class Americans panicked and sold stock at a loss, while the elite bought shares at rock-bottom prices. The bailouts, a direct theft from taxpayers. The government gave $700 billion to bail out the banks, TARP program, but homeowners and small businesses got nothing. The aftermath? How the elites profited again? Did anyone go to jail? Nope. Instead, the same bank responsible got even bigger and richer. Wall Street got bailed out, but working Americans lost jobs, savings, and homes. New laws made it harder for regular people to get mortgages, while hedge funds got special deals to buy homes in bulk. And I'm going to be mentioning a lot of these. Okay? Today, the wealthiest 1% own more real estate and stock than ever before, while the middle class home ownership is declining. Final thoughts of 2008 crisis was planned wealth transfer. It's not just a market crash. It was deliberate economic warfare against the middle class American. The same people responsible are still in power today. This can happen again, and it will happen. And many argue it already is happening through inflation, high interest rate, and institutional home ownership. So what I'm telling you is, a lot of times people call me arrogant or Mr. Know-it-all. Listen, I was born with something special. Maybe it's a curse, but I read a lot. I'm very informative. I too much, honestly. But because of that, I remember certain things, and I see patterns. I see pictures, and I create a puzzle when I see different puzzles of a picture, and I'm able to determine certain things in the future. This is why I know what's coming. I'm trying to warn you and educate you. And the issue with you is you trust your government, not knowing that they have killed American people. They have set us up. They don't give a rat's ass about you. Sometimes I grew up in the ghetto as a minority Puerto Rican. I have to speak sometimes ghetto so you can understand. You cannot trust your government. And one thing I could say, I'm glad in a way that Trump came forward. Okay, because why? Many of you has woken up, and it's going to be an exchange of wealth from one area to another. Well, and it's biblical for those that believe in the Bible, and it's going to be a transfer of wealth like you've never seen. So you need to prepare. Me personally, listen, I'm not a financial advisor. Okay, I don't have a license for that, although I major in real estate and economics. Okay, I spent tens of thousands and a lot of hours of research. But one thing I could tell you, I do not trust the people running this country. We are Americans, especially those that are from Native American background, right? But it doesn't matter your color, okay? Because even white people is just a classification. There ain't no such thing. It was created to divide. Divide Americans from Republicans to Democrats, from white and black. It's all BS, okay? Because even there was time that even Irish fought along with Mexicans and Puerto Rican against the British and against America. Okay, especially back in Mexico in 1848. So there's a lot you don't know. We're just being divided, and that's why I know you haven't woken up. When you say, oh, you're a Democrat, no, you're a Republican, you're being fooled, you're naive, and they keep using the same thing over and over again that divided us in the first place. People say, oh, conquer. Like if I come and I steal your car, steal your wife, and steal your home, or all of a sudden I conquer. No, call it for what it is, okay? They, under these elites, lied to us. They stole from us because they control the media. They control the newspapers at the time. Okay, they control the information source, including social media right now. And you're being fooled. You're being, you know, they're confusing you and dividing us again. Don't let them divide you. It's we the people against these elites. And the time has come when the world has woken up, although a lot of Americans are still asleep. And it's going to get really rough for you, I'm telling you. It's going to get bad, so you need to prepare yourself for what's coming, okay? If I still had the sources and my family, my daughters wouldn't be part of from my first marriage, I will get the hell out of here, okay? And I will invest elsewhere. That's just my opinion. I can't tell you what to do because, again, like I told you before with the gold, when they took the gold, right? What's not stopping them from creating laws? And it's always against minorities for whatever reason, right? Remember when the blacks had to sit in the back of the bus? Just because the law doesn't mean it's fair. And they keep dividing you. They're using bots and social media. And you hear the inner idiots, oh, yeah, come on. Yeah, let's go kill them. Let's go get the immigrants out. When they are they're keeping our economy up there. When they provide over 4.5 trillions towards our GDP. They're dividing us because they need a boogeyman. And you are naive, keep falling for that. Stop this bullshit about Democrats, Republican, and all that. No, it's we the people against the elite. Focus, people. Focus, because it's going to get really bad. I already explained in the other video about the GDP. I explained about the dollarization, about the inflation. We've been robbed 97% of our buying power since 1913, and it's getting worse. And eventually you're going to end up homeless. You're going to end up homeless. We need to stop these people, take them away from power. And I've already written a lot of articles telling you how. Okay, term limits. And I'm not going to get into that. Watch those videos. That's all I have for you. I hope this makes sense and I wake you up. I know because I was robbed. I was robbed. And yeah, you can't give up. You got to hustle. You got to reinvent yourself. But don't trust your government. And if you can, invest elsewhere. I'd rather, if I can, honestly, God, I'd rather invest in China than invest in here because I already got robbed twice. So, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, I've been robbed twice. That's why I give you that information, my own experience, so you could hear what I'm telling you and be prepared. Because, again, these corporate elites, they don't care about you. You think you trust Trump? After all you've seen, we're killing people in Afghanistan, we're killing people in Gaza. You think you are different? Because why? You're American? We have killed Americans. Our government has killed Americans. You just don't know it, including Puerto Ricans. Wake up, people. Wake up. Stop trusting your government. Stop letting them divide you. Unite with your fellow brothers and your sister, your neighbor. Stop fighting. If you're going to fight, fight with the elites. Let's vote those people out of power. Maybe too late. The world is against us. You need to wake up because the media is not showing you that because it's not to their best interest. They are owned and controlled by these elites. That's all I have for you. I hope you open your eyes and wake up. We're not in the side of good. We are on the side of evil. Remember that. Bye-bye.